Hello there and welcome to Ancient Theories channel. Today I'm going to play an archaeology game, Archeo Shinar, which is imagine soccer manager but archaeology. Tough business tycoon which will make you cry a little bit at night because you couldn't pay your employees on time and you had to make a deal on the black market and sell some ancient artifacts just to buy some gin and tobacco for Jimmy. Because he gets a little bit nervous with all those and we don't want Jimmy to be nervous, right? My take is on the game story, especially side stories, which at least in my opinion are brilliant. Shall we start?
Hello, my child. If you are reading this, then I'm probably dead. A long time ago, when I was young, I had a goal. I dedicated my whole life to fulfill one ambition. But I failed. While I was a student, I came across some inaccuracy about the Tower of Babel. Thus my lifelong obsession began. After my graduation, I contacted the Royal Archaeology Institute to help me fulfill my destiny. They hired me as an explorer. I finally had some freedom to do some research, and I found out that the Antagonist was possibly inspired by the Bible story of the Tower of Babel. After a while, I got promoted. I became an archaeologist. The Institute started to send me to many different excavation sites, and my dream began to fade away. I don't even know when my hair turned grey. I dedicated myself to work, and as a result, I didn't achieve my biggest goal. But I knew one thing. Robert Curldaway found an imitation of the tower created by King Nebuchadnezzar II. Now, when you are listening to these words, I'm dead. I'm sorry that I didn't spend much time with you. I know I don't have the right to demand anything from you, but I'm asking for this one thing. Please continue the search. Find the original location of the tower, and let my soul rest in peace. If my words aren't enough to convince you, return to our home and go to my office. Read my notes. Find out the truth. My last clue was an ancient manuscript from the Royal Library of Alexandria. But as you know, that library was destroyed in a fire with all of its treasures. However, the manuscript somehow survived the fire. I think it wasn't written on paper. There are only a few spoken messages which I wrote down that can help you find it. This lost text is the key to the Tower of Babel. If you manage to retrieve it, I promise you will be the most famous archaeologist in history, but it isn't an easy task. That's why you shouldn't do it alone. A good starting point is the institute where I worked. If everything went according to my plan, there should be a place for you. The institute will guide you and lead you, offering a helping hand, but don't reveal your true goal, because the world isn't free of greed and envy. Remember, my child, the Tower of Babel was the obsession which consumed me. I ask you to fulfill my destiny, but not to follow the same path. After all these years, I finally know that my greatest achievement is you. Signed, your late father.
Okay, the main story is all about the Tower of Babel. The intro guy talked about Robert Curldaway, who is truly the guy who found the place where King Nebuchadnezzar II erected his ziggurat in Neo-Babylonian times, which probably was a reconstruction of the biblical tower. But it wasn't the original, which the game gets right here. The original place of the tower is still unknown, but the Bible states that it was erected somewhere in the land of Shinar, which is somewhere between today's Lebanon and Iraq. So that's for the title of the game, right? Give me a second here, I need to create my avatar. Oh, and I will play on normal, which is truly hard in this game. There are easy, normal, hard and dreadful difficulties, and even the easy one isn't easy. It makes you feel that the game is easy for the first couple of rounds, but one mistake and you are bankrupt. Playing on hard is like trying to win a Russian roulette game with blanks when your opponent has real bullets. And don't get me even started on dreadful. I don't know if there is even one person alive who can play this game on dreadful. It's like the game asks you if you want to lose, and you try again and again and you lose it anyway. I will play on normal. The first mission is to find some manuscripts from the Library of Alexandria which survived the fire in 47 BC, which is quite odd but plausible in terms of probability. Most of the documents were on papyrus, which is a little bit flammable, right? But one could run into library during the fire and snatch some valuable papers and get away with it.
Let me introduce myself. I am Francisco Ruiz Velázquez, one of the most splendido archaeologists of this country, and I am proudly pleased that our Royal Archaeology Institute has such honored archaeologists on board. I have heard you want to start excavations on my territory, so I must warn you, gringo. I know you want to find here something very important and highly valuable. Of course, we do not exactly know what it is, but we received information that it could be a magnifico manuscript from the Royal Library of Alexandria. I am the one who was delegated to the task, and I will find it first. This means you have to get a license first, to be even possible to dare me a challenge. It would not be an easy case. So as a gentleman and hidalgo, I am obligated to wish you luck. I am also sure you will handle with this problem in the best possible way. But you should hurry up.
Long story short, we have to get 20 points of reputation to get the license for excavation in this Spanish guy's region and find there the manuscripts in less than 30 rounds. Simply as that. Meanwhile, we cannot go bankrupt. The bankruptcy in this game means that the player doesn't pay his obligation on time 3 times. The idea of the game is the management of explorers. They have 7 different skills. I will focus on archaeology and maybe another one, like exploration. Those explorers need stimulants to do their jobs without developing any phobias, which can lower their skills. I will show you one full loop and then cut some unnecessary struggle. Wait a minute. That's a big deal. We struck some gold here. You see, some explorers are legendary, with golden frames. Those are important. They can do 2 instead of only 1 thing during the expedition. They are rare, like you sometimes don't see any legendary explorer for a few full missions, or you can get some cheeky tactics to lure them. I guess I will go with archaeology and geology skills for this run. You see, the player can affect the explorer's attitude once per round to make your employee more efficient or less. The price is the chance of getting a phobia during the job. And with Ignacy on my crew, I'm not investing in gin for my stuff, because my biggest concern is to fulfill his needs, which are coffee and tobacco, and making an explorer risky gives him a boost of +1 to +4 for every skill when a precarious one has +7. Insane because it is totally random. It can swing either way. Sometimes it will help you, sometimes it won't. I like my explorers to be precarious. Well, only those who need stimulants that I'm not happy with. And it looks like Ignacy doesn't need gin. So, yeah, I won't buy gin for you guys. In this game there is also property management, which allows you to buy some land and even build something on it and exploit it. I guess I will go for the safe strategy in this run, which is bidding low, lower than the land's selling point. This means that probably my opponent will get the land if he wants to, but if not, then I can get it and then sell it for more than I paid for it and make some profit, which in this game is life or death. Time for the first expedition. With Ignacy on my team, I will go with the geology evaluation. The higher the reward, the harder the expedition. In this case, it's not so hard one. I estimate that my explorer with 60 geology will get 100% success, but my others with geology at 20 or something will need to roll a dice on those. But legendary explorers can do 2 tasks or quests or whatever, which gives me a huge advantage here. By the way, have you listened to the soundtrack in this game? It's truly marvellous. Just listen. Sometimes during expeditions you can find some artifact like I just did. Well, like Ignacy just did. This one isn't worth much, but it is something which can help me in the long run. In the end, the expedition was successful. I got some money and a reputation, but one of my explorers got a phobia. That's probably because of his attitude. I will change it later. Nevertheless, the expeditions are a little bit nerve-wracking, but the fun for me is in the preparation phase. After this, I need to address some letters which are waiting for me on my desk. This is what I'm talking about. Do you see this letter about Ignacy? The University of Chile wants to bribe me to get that man. And what's funny is that guy, Ignacy D'Amico, has his bust in front of that university for real. This event is the reason why I know that, and most of those side events in this game have those little reality checks done really well. Paychecks. I need to pay my employees no matter what in this game. And Francisco bought the land, a similar strategy as mine, but a little bit more cash. I will show you one thing more and then cut some redundant gameplay. There is the press, 3 newspapers which I can deal in favors with their editors. I can give them an exclusive license for a story about my last expedition. Even if they don't like it, then our relationship goes better for some time. If I neglect them for a long time, then they will go back to being unconcerned. The game rewards you for sticking with only one of those, which is sometimes not great because they all have their own special gigs, which you can buy for favors. You can always share the story with everybody, which can make you more famous in the long term, but I tend to stick with one of those 3 newspapers. The Royal Archaeology Gazette can give you freebies for favours, like boosters. And for 3 favours, they can organise an event for you to legally sell your artefacts for reputation, not for cash, like on the black market, but you get the idea. You can also give presents to those editors for better relations, which is literally bribing them for a better chance to print your story. Okay, 12 seconds later, I'm going on another expedition. It's focused on geology and archaeology, nothing crazy, just grinding my way up, training my crew and earning some reputation. I speeded up it for you. Yep, I failed it miserably. When there is a skill test with a plus, then there are no random dice involved, only pure math. But when the skills are too low, even in the normal skill test, then it has a 0% chance of success. So, yeah, it was not the random god's fault, but mine. I miscalculated here a little. Here is my reward for the failed expedition. It won't even cover my coffee and tobacco. What a shame. Again, some random event, an invitation to a picnic. The case is to attend or not to attend due to some shenanigans around associates of the organizer. What is a little bit funny is that the letter states that there will be a guy who knows Royal Archaeology Gazette's editor well because he plays chess with him every week. And in the game, if you want to, you can visit the chess club and you will find that editor there. Also, the location of the picnic seems random, but it's Hard Knot, which is an archaeological site with some remnants of a Roman fort there. I don't know more about this particular event, and I never heard anything about Francis Haverfield or Giacomo Boni, but 12 guests could mean anything from 12 to 100. Let it be, I will go there. After the last failure, I'm running low on cash and I can't afford to fail again. I decided to go for the easiest expedition, even if I wouldn't earn enough to cover my costs. After all, my goal is to get 20 points of reputation and find the manuscript, not to make a fortune, right? And for now, my team is kind of weak. But well, at least they are cheap. Quick cut and the expedition is over. A little reward in cash and 1 point of reputation. Oh, another event with Ignacy. What's that about? Okay, it's a logic paradox. The instruction is contradictory, but if it is, then the idea of a surprise is well constructed. You see, the convict knows about that contradiction, so he or she believes that there will be no execution, so for him or her it is surprised that it happened on any day at all. But I will go with no, it's contradictory because I feel that Ignacy wouldn't be happy otherwise and I need him in his best form. Oh no, it wasn't the best choice, now I can't change his attitude and it was auto-changed to precarious. This means that it is likely he will get some phobias even with the stimulants. At least he will get +7 to every skill for that. I know it was a tricky question and it wasn't contradictory because the convict believed that it was. You win some, you lose some, right? My land strategy isn't going according to my plan, but at least I'm not burning money on silly stuff. Oh look, coffee and tobacco are cheap. Time to buy some stock. This is the time when I don't talk much, I calculate. As you have seen, there are two good expeditions for me in this round. One is focused on geology, which probably will be the best choice now. If you want to skip this planning part, then I prepared some stamps in this video. I know it's not the most exciting thing to watch, but trust me, there is a lot going on in my head. Every time I train my explorer, I pay £250 and his salary goes up, which means I will need to pay him more in the next round. It cost me twice because that increase in salary comes around every round from now on, and if it isn't worth it for me, then firing him cost me a severance payment, which is also calculated based on the salary. A lot of math. Well, if we are looking for something from the Library of Alexandria, then it shouldn't be a surprise that I'm finding some Egyptian artifacts, even if those are dead, ancient Egyptians in bandages. Do you even consider a mummy to be an artifact? To be honest, I feel like they were treated like that in the 19th century, but I don't know. This time it's going good, and I found another artifact, Shapti. It's a totem for a dead person, like a servant in the afterlife. Egyptians put those in tombs for their kin, because who doesn't want to have a butler in the afterlife, right? Oh, I bought land this time. And here is the continuation. Yes, this game truly reacts to those events. It appears to me that I was at that picnic in Hard Knot. Okay, I get it. This Mr. Haverfield invited me to put a price on a Roman artifact, second Lycurgus cup. His associates gave him a fake price to simply rob him. Well, buy it from him for pennies, and I can tell him the truth or overprice it just to make those buffoons even angrier. This cup is a marvel on its own. Depending on light direction, it changes colour, which is possible with nanolayer of gold and silver in the glass. It's not known how the Romans did that, but it is speculated that you can get this effect with the trial and error method if only you have enough glass, gold and silver on your hands. I will stick to the true value. I need a good reputation after all. And I think that's all for today. That's Archeo Shinar. I love those events and stories in this game. And those are not fixed. You will be getting different ones, or the same, but in a different configuration. The expeditions can be nerve-wracking and the learning curve is longer than expected, but at some point it clicks just right. I'm not a master and I make a lot of mistakes, but I feel like I'm doing okay, at least this time. I would like to go on and show you some more of those events because I find them marvellous and they scratch a lot of topics. I won't spoil anything, but I had some spicy ones in my previous attempts. There are also a lot of different archaeology themed games, but usually there is too much fiction for me, no reality checks. Who doesn't like a good Indiana Jones story, right? But after all, it's just a story, far-fetched and with cool gadgets. And that's what entertainment is for, but here I can talk about real artifacts and real enigmas in our ancient history, which pleases me very much. Till we meet again.